Hey there, my name's Nadernejad. I'm an online reputation management specialist, but for the past 7 years I've had this channel and I've had the luxury of being able to travel for business, sometimes for leisure, and share information about the cities that I go to. And the city that I'm in right now is Frankfurt, Germany. This is unlike any other German city you have ever seen. It's a financial city. It is a city that is vastly different depending on where you go. It is a city where life is spread out across the entire city, which we don't see in cities like Berlin, where you have different areas. It's like 5 cities blended into one. So no matter where you go, you're going to be able to just stick to your life in your little district or your little area. Here it is all across the city. So we're going to try to get the full experience. And what I'm going to do is, after going to over 25 countries, review not only kind of German culture within this city, but also what Frankfurt is in terms of, comparison throughout the rest of Germany and the rest of the world. We're going to review Frankfurt on 5 different categories. We're going to look into the food. We're going to look into the culture. We're going to look into the friendliness, convenience of the city overall, whether you're an expat, you're working here full time, or you just want to visit. We're also going to look at this from a transportation and a perspective of getting around the community. German people would know this, but if you're not German, you wouldn't know that Frankfurt has a notorious train station. And a lot of the poverty in Frankfurt, some of the, what gets in the media and where the bad things happen is around the train station. But it's not actually that bad. It might look bad to an outsider. It might look bad if you're coming from a very clean place. But having seen most of Europe, having seen, probably the shadiest areas in Southeast Asia, and having been around the world, in the end of the day, it's not that bad. And if you treat people with the respect, they will always respect you back. So I want you to know that in general, Frankfurt is safe, but it's also rough around the edges. The Turkish food here is excellent. It's more German style, and having lived in Istanbul for at least a few months, being all over, the city of Istanbul, going to Antalya and seeing, a lot of the country, I can tell you it's Germanized Turkish food, but you can still get all the things that you get in Turkey that are also similar. I highly recommend eating the Turkish food here. It has higher volume than the other restaurants, so more people are grabbing it. It's cheaper, 5 or 6 euros, rather than 10, 20 euros for a meal, so pretty good. Alors, comment ça va? Pas bien en français,
ouais,
mais
tu fais quoi comme vidéo?
Je vais faire YouTube.
YouTube, c'est
oui.
Bien, alors on
je peux
YouTube.
filmer vous? C'est ok?
Okay.
Comment ça va?
Tranquille.
Mon ami.
Bienvenue en Francfort, Allemagne.
Bienvenue.
Moi, je suis la personne qui a rencontré. Plaisir.
Merci.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Bonne journée. So these guys were French. I don't speak French very well, but I thought I would give it a shot. People are friendly around here. It's really funny because you don't see on the surface anybody smile in Frankfurt. You don't see friendliness on the surface, but the second you pull out a camera, people don't see that. This is a ridiculous thing to do in Germany. So there are vloggers in Berlin, but this is more of a financial hub, or a place where you come to hustle and work hard. So it's very different. So I'm going to walk through the train station area known as Batoff, and this area is known for kind of undercoverish drug deals, prostitution, a little bit of poverty, but it also has hotels and regular life and good restaurants. And I'm going to show you the general area. And I'm also going to try not to film people here because, of course, if you're doing a drug deal, you don't want to be on YouTube. So gonna be mindful of that. So I'm gonna stop at this German chain to try a specialty called Currywurst. If you haven't had that before, it's basically fries, sausages, and the sausage has a curry sauce on top. Could I have a Currywurst with klein Wasser, please?
Currywurst special, Currywurst only, or Currywurst fries?
So our food has arrived. This is Currywurst. So I'm gonna try the sausage and describe it to you. That's unique, and it's good fast food. The way that I would describe that is it's almost a ketchup-based sauce with curry powder on top. You can eat it alone or you can eat it with the fries. I actually haven't had Currywurst for like 4 years when I was last in Berlin, so good memories. There is a decent, admirable level of camaraderie and companionship and some hospitality and a sense of culture and belonging among German folk, which I appreciate, and they would be happy to show you around. People will help you and point you in the right direction if you ask them. And that's generally the way things work around here. That being said, you're not going to get a lot of extra kindness or extra anything. Nothing's very extra about any of the interactions here, but it's okay. There aren't tons of coffee shops to work from in Frankfurt, which I find really interesting because in North America, things are a lot bigger. Our stores are bigger, the portions are bigger. Coffee shops are larger, so there's generally more outlets, more places to sit, and you can open your laptop. A lot of these cafes, while they have higher quality coffee, they don't necessarily have a place for you to sit, and you might not be welcome bringing your laptop inside. So it's always best to go to the big chains, either the big chains in the country or go to the big chains that are recognizable around the world, like your Starbucks, for instance, where you can find outlets. And I have you know, coffee at Starbucks in Germany, it's a lot more expensive, especially in a financial city like Frankfurt. You're spending like 6 euros on a coffee, so you're spending like $8 Canadian, maybe $7 US on a single coffee, which I guess isn't unheard of, but it is quite expensive. Something I've noticed about restaurants around here, if you go to any sort of international restaurant, like perhaps a Chinese restaurant or another restaurant, what you end up finding is that there's not a very high level of traffic and volume. I'm noticing in restaurants, people don't clean the tables on time. Like there's dirty food left on the tables for 5-10 minutes sometimes. Service, I've walked into multiple places. You might not get served for the first 10 minutes, like they acknowledge you, but then it's like, how do I order? And so these things end up happening around the city. It's like service is a little bit asleep, not having a kitchen to cook in or food prepared here, and having to eat at restaurants all the time. It's like, I can only eat doner and fries, and then you might go to some other restaurants and they're kind of dead or empty, or you're spending 20 euros for subpar service, subpar food. And this is walking around. Now they do have restaurants with like 2 Michelin stars, but then you're getting a little portion. So if you want to regularly eat outside and use that as a method or a mode of convenience, get to your work, have variety, it's very difficult in a city like Frankfurt. And I think this is what separates North America and a lot of Europe, is that it's not really possible. Like, because back home, I can go to a buffet, have 10 different choices of vegetables, 10 different choices of meat. People are eating a lot in big portions, and the food's being refreshed constantly. Service is friendly, and you're maybe spending 30 Canadian dollars or like 20 euros or so. And it can be less. You know, some buffets are $14.99, so like 8, 9, 10 euros for a buffet. So I'm not really encountering this level of convenience or this level of high traffic quality and freshness in the restaurant. Now that we've left the train station area, you can see as we move deeper into the city, this is where you start seeing a bit more money. You start seeing all these shops in the shopping center and the financial buildings back here. For a very financial city, if we're going to compare it to something like New York, it feels a little bit confused and empty. So as we move deeper into the city, we begin to enter what very much is the shopping district. Not necessarily the shopping mall, but you start to see little stores pop up along here. This is the Steinburger Frankfurt Hof. So it's one of the most popular hotels here, or at least the most expensive. But I want to speak a little bit to kind of this sleepiness of the city. Like, I'm gonna take you to what should be, like, check this out on Google. It's a very popular hotel. But like, I walked in and I thought about checking in here earlier, and just look at the sort of ambiance. It's almost like nothing is going on, and it confuses me a little bit. So it's blocked. So I'm thinking, okay, I want to check into this 4, maybe 5-star hotel with this brilliant architecture, and I walk in through here and no doorman. Nobody is here to take you in. Let's go a little bit further. Let's go into the hotel. The entrance is blocked. So of course it's Sunday, probably it's an off season, it's fine, but I'm wandering around here, I'm seeing the most energy really around the train station. Walking away from the train station, it gets a little bit more expensive and European, but it has this almost half awake vibe. It's nice in the morning if you go where people are concentrated, but again, it's overall okay. So I haven't been here long enough to recommend whether you should live here or not, but I will say if you don't have a purpose to be here, so if you don't have a long-term job with a bank, then it's likely not the city to stay in for the sake of staying in it. There's not necessarily a large entrepreneurial community. We do have some expats, we do have some entrepreneurs, but mainly it's 9 to 5 sort of working environment here where people believe in big jobs that are going to provide you with benefits. To come here as a freelancer if you're German and work in one of the most expensive cities wouldn't be wise. Not only that is it more expensive, but it might not contain things that are suitable for you. Like, you would mainly come here if you have a job. So again, I've only been here for a little while. This is my first impression as a Canadian in Frankfurt, Germany. Overall, I do think it is a cool, quirky city. It's got, you know, you can walk around, it's got things, it's got that very German energy, but there could be more life, there could be more zest, there could be a little bit more. Frankfurt leaves a little bit to be desired. So these are my opinions right off the bat, and I'll see you next time here on the channel.